Mickey the Makita sander, and I like to sand projects. What's up, guys? Damon here. I just want to let you know that what powers me through all my videos is Fago's Moon Mist. It can be found at your local Aldi's if they have it in stock. Sometimes it's hit or miss. You just have to go and check it out. But what we're talking about today is sanding and some sanding basics. Basically, I'm redoing the staircase in my home. It's 130 years old and it's never been refinished before. And it's time for it to be the old varnish and stain sanded off, and it needs a fresh stain and a fresh clear coat over it to preserve it and protect it for another 130 years at least. So we'll go ahead and get started here. What I like to do, especially when working on a staircase, this is an oak staircase to be specific, but as you're taking pieces off your staircase, you want to make sure that you're numbering them. And that's just to make sure that when you go to put it in back together, after you've made it all pretty and nice, you want to make sure you get the pieces in the right spot. Even if they look exactly the same, just assume that they're not and go ahead and number them anyways. And that will eliminate any headaches down the road when you go to reassemble your project. And that's good advice for anything really. So, without further ado, we'll get going here. As you can see, this is the one of the treads, tread number 16 to be specific, and it still has a good amount of varnish and stain on it from its original condition. So what we're going to want to do is before we start sanding at all, we just want to go ahead and make sure that the wood, probably not the people that installed this originally, but homeowners later on actually put some finish nails into the wood, probably to help damper some of the creaks and noises that you would hear when going up and down the stairs. However, that didn't really work out that great because some of the nails were close to the edge of the board and it caused it to split a little bit, and I had to repair that. So there's another video about that. You guys will have to check it out. How to repair those fine cracks within your project. So you want to make sure that those are repaired first before you do any sanding. Also, since there were metal objects and nails in the boards, you're going to want to go ahead and first thing get a metal detector and just go across your piece and make sure that you've located all the nails. So just for an example here, I already have these marked where they are, and you can see they're kind of random where they're located, but having a metal detector really eliminates any confusion, and it helps you really identify where the metal objects are. Obviously, as you can imagine, when you're sanding, you don't want to have some really expensive 3M sandpaper and you go over a very sharp nail or a screw, and it damages your sheet of sandpaper, which sometimes can be, if you buy good sandpaper, it's about $1 a piece. It could also damage your sander. So highly recommend get a metal detector. You can frisk family members when they come over for gatherings. It's a fun joke, but seriously, I would check your family members out for weapons and drugs and things like that at the door. Okay, so got the metal detector, got it turned on, and as you can see, going across here, no foreign objects here, but when I get over to one of my marked edges, right there, did you hear that? Here we go. Be quiet, be real quiet, listen. Okay, so you can see right here, there's a nail that needs to be removed. Now we're gonna go over, we're gonna scan the board to see if we can find anything else. Okay, right here, already marked it, there's another nail there. As you can see, these are kind of all over the place, so that's really why you need a metal detector to scan your piece, because you don't know what the previous owners have done to your project. So, and this is kind of like a neat little tool that you can use. So we'll go across. There is another one right here, and then on the end here, you can see that there's another nail. So what I'm going to do is in order to get those out, I have a very special set of tools. One of those is a very specific punch And basically you can use this to drive the nails through far enough to the other side that you can then take them out the rest of the way with a pair of pliers. So I always like to have a good punch, have a good set of vice grips so you can really get a good grip on the nails, and also you're going to want a hammer, and that way you can hammer the nails through and at least get them started to be taken out. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. I'll bring the camera a little bit closer so you can see. It doesn't have an atmosphere, so how can there be mist on the moon? And that's part of the magic. So I highly recommend you get some of this. It's located at Aldi's. Most Aldi locations have it, but really it's hit or miss. So you can go there hoping to get it, but don't be disappointed if it's just not in stock or you can't find it anywhere. Aldi's. So you can also do a Instacart order, and they may or may not have this product. So just want to let you know, it doesn't really make sense face value. The name, no, but you can't argue with the good taste. So anyways, we're talking about sanding, and I've set it up here to make it a little bit easier to see kind of what method we're going to be going with. And so basically, when you're sanding, you want to work through different grits, and what I found is what works best when sanding floors or anything with foot traffic like stairs, which is what we're working on today. You're going to want to start with at least a 40 grit sandpaper, and that's good enough to get deep into the wood and remove a lot of that old varnish and a lot of old stain. It just seems like the products that they used at the turn of the century were really high quality, probably super toxic, not the best for the environment, I'm guessing, but it really stood the test of time. So, but those finishes are very thick and kind of difficult to get off. So start with a 40 grit sandpaper, get all the finish off of it. That's the goal of the 40 grit. And then every sandpaper after that, you're basically working through to remove the swirls left by the previous sand paper. So basically 40 grit, remove the finish, remove the varnish, then boom, you're going to go to the 80 grit. The 80 grit will help you remove some of the swirls that were left by the 40 grit sandpaper. 40 grit's a pretty heavy grit, so it leaves some pretty deep gouges. So go to your 80 grit after that, sand your whole piece, take your time. Next, 120. This could be considered a finishing sandpaper, so depending on how smooth you want your finish, or I find that a lot of good sanding, you're really going to see more detail with your grains and that kind of thing. It's really going to stand out. So you can stop at 120, or you can continue on 120, then to 150, and then if you really want to make it glassy, you can go to 220. And what I like to use is my Makita sander. It is it's a palm sander. It comes with a grip, but for this specific application, I've removed the grip. I will put the model number and information of the sander down into the comments section. I can tell you it's not the most expensive sander that you can get. There's a Bosch sander that's about $100 more expensive than this one. But honestly, if you're not a professional, you're a homeowner and you want professional quality, then Makita is what you're going to want to go with, at least in this instance. So you'll definitely have to check it out. It's the model number is BO5041. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's a good sander. It really is, and it's got lots of holes in it here for dust extraction, which is another thing. I have a full, you can kind of see it back here in the background. It is a system, sand or dust collection system that I can hook up to this and really get good dust extraction. And that will basically make it go quicker when you go to sand, because there's less particles on your board there to try to remove. So this is a good sander. It's what you're going to want to probably use for good projects like this. It's a good investment. I've had this for a long time, and it's really a workhorse. In between your sanding, I like to use a vacuum. So you can kind of see that there. It is not a mustache, as you might think. Mustache. But anyways, it could be used as a mustache. So basically, sometimes I pour moon mist into my vacuum, and it just makes it run better. I don't know. Anyways, so get yourself a vacuum, because you don't want to use an air compressor. That'll just blow your dust all over the place, and it doesn't really get rid of it. It'll just settle back down after a little bit back onto your project. So vacuum your project. Okay. So now we've covered all the sanding grits. We've covered what type of sander to use. You can kind of see on the board back here, there's a blue line. We're going to do one side, I'm not going to do any sanding, and the other side, I'm going to do some sanding. So you'll be able to see basically how it looks when we're all finished here. So. Okay, so first things first, before we get started, a lot of people want to know the best way to reduce swirls while sanding. Do you start your sander and then do you put it on the wood while it's spinning, or do you kind of start your sander while it's on the piece and let it kind of ramp up? So I found that the best way to do it is to start your sander on the piece, and that seems to work best at reducing any swirls. I just wanted to cover another very basic thing to keep in mind when you're using a power sander. It's very easy to get deep gouges and swirl marks in your project if you're not operating it correctly. However, by being patient and using the proper technique, then you can have a really nice project in the end. So one of the things that you don't want to do is tilt your sander on its side or frontwards when you're sanding something, because you're going to create a valley that's going to be really hard to sand out, and also you're going to put really deep swirl marks in your project by doing that. So try not to tilt it. Another thing to keep in mind, which doesn't come in the instructions, is that when you are sanding, you want to sand at the rate of about 1 inch per second. So you can kind of see my hand moving across here. That's 1 inch per second. And doing this in addition to using the proper sandpaper grits and the proper steps, stepping it up a little bit each time to remove the previous sandpaper or swirl marks, then you're going to get a really nice finish. So just keep that in mind when you're using your sander. If not, you'll have your project sanded, think it's going to look really nice. Then you'll go to put your stain on and you'll immediately be able to see the swirl marks or the valleys or the grooves that you've put in there by using your sander incorrectly. So just to keep in mind, you want it to be smooth as it goes across the wood. Smooth like the moon mist goes down. It goes down so smooth. And I can't drink this right now because it's after 4 o'clock. It has caffeine, so that's kind of my own rule. So this stuff will light me up, and you know, it really just, I won't sleep for about 48 hours after, you know, drinking a can like this at any time really, because you get a good bang for your buck. So just remember, at Aldi's you can pick this up at some locations. No guarantees that it's going to be in stock though. If it is in stock, they will definitely throw it in your cart. So yeah. Okay guys, so here you can see the side that has not had any sanding. And you can look in there, it looks pretty rough. And then we go over here and we can see immediately how well the wood looks, that it's been sanded properly. And what's going to happen is when I go to stain over this, it's going to give a really pretty finish. It's not going to be perfect because it is a board that's over 130 years old, but it will be a very nice surface to finish, and it will look really good in the end. Hey guys, it's Damon here. I just wanted to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something about sanding. I hope you can apply it to your projects. Especially if you're refinishing something like stairs, floors, an old piece of furniture, something that you're trying to renew. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and give it a like, give it a subscribe somewhere, wherever they are. You know where they are because you can see on the computer or your phone screen. So just go ahead and ring the subscriber and like it. And there'll be more videos. They take a little bit of time to do, but this is a lot of fun to make. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed.